Okay, so today we're changing the engine upper torque strut bar on a 2015 Volvo XC60. It's this guy right here, and what goes bad on them is this rubber bushing right here. You can see some daylight coming through with my fingers back there, and that's kind of how you tell when they've gone bad. So I'm going to go over how to replace that. Step one is just get the engine cover off, which you just pull up on and it unpops from these little posts right here. And then I'm not sure if you have to do this or not, but I went ahead and from underneath just supported the engine with a jack. So when we disconnect it, it doesn't drop or anything, so everything just stays in place. Whether or not that's necessary or not, I'm not sure, but I'm just going ahead and doing it to be safe. And that just requires removing the belly pan, which is just a few bolts, which is pretty easy and self-explanatory. So that's where we're starting, and next we'll be removing the actual strut bar. Okay, next step we're going to get the coolant reservoir out of the way, and you do that by removing this 8mm bolt right here. And then you've got a tab here, and that might be it. So we're just gonna undo that bolt and pop this up out of the way so we can access this bolt here with a ratchet, or you can use a wrench, but I think a ratchet is easier. Okay, so after you get the 8mm bolt out, you can just kind of pull straight up and wiggle this, and it will come off this tab right here. And then you can kind of get your ratchet kind of snugged in between there, and it is a 15mm. It's on there pretty good, so I already loosened it, so we're just gonna loosen that up. And after we get that off, we're gonna go for this bolt back here. So I got the bolt backed all the way out, and you kind of gotta move the reservoir around until you can get that to come all the way out, and then just kind of let that sit back in there. There's the bolt, put that up there. Next up is this back here. Throw the wrench there, and we're gonna figure out what size ratchet we need, which will hopefully fit back there. Okay, to remove this back bolt, you actually need the 15mm socket again, and you break it back here, but this nut, I believe, is welded to this bracket here. So this will not break loose. That's what I was gonna take off first, and it just would not budge. So just take it out from this side, and this whole thing should be loose after that. So got the back bolt removed, place it up there with the other one, and this just comes loose. So you can see how torn up this one is. I'm curious to see what difference it'll make having that replaced, because this helps when you accelerate, keep the engine in place and not torque up like this. So I'm gonna go grab the new one and we'll get it in place. All right, here's a new part. No holes in the sides here. So reinstalling should be just as simple as reversing what we just did. So just gonna lay that in there, replace the 2 bolts and tighten them down, and then reinstall everything, and we should be good to go. So I got my 2 bolts reinstalled, so this bracket is good to go. Just make sure you put your coolant tank back on and get it lined up in this slot right there, which is not easy one-handed, and then make sure you replace that 8mm bolt right there. Coolant reservoir is back on. We are just going to lower the engine back down a little bit. And then we're going to reinstall our engine cover, which should just line up and then press back on. And then make sure you reinstall the belly pan down here, and the job is done. Easy enough.